Today promises to be an uneventful day. I'll explain why, and what the first thing we have to do is have our coffee. It's a rainy, drizzly day here in paradise, but we need coffee. Will make it all better, I'm sure. Should be a relatively easy and predictable day, because yesterday we did all the legwork and test work on taking that coating off the forks, and today we're ready to do the part of the forks that you're going to see. And I always really like when you can get the dirty work done the day before, and then the second day you've set yourself up for a relatively easy day, and today is going to be that easy day. Now, good sequencing has allowed us to do a lot of stuff very efficiently, very inexpensively. But the one thing is, we've done it with a lot of passion. None of this is done like mowing the grass. I really enjoy every minute of this. And it's supposed to rain all day, so again, good sequencing. We'll be down in a warm cellar and drinking more of that coffee. Now, I don't know how appropriate this is or how it affects what we do, but before the winter actually got here, I flitzed down with that Flitz buffing ball. I flitzed down the whole car, and it looks like it's still, I haven't done a lot to it since then. It's made it through a whole winter of rain and snow, and everything's still beading up. And I'm not a car guy. I run around detailing my car out every so many days, but the point is that Flitz really does add a level of protection, and I'm glad we use it on our motorcycle stuff. Good stuff. So while I'm working on motorcycles today, what do we got here? Parsnips, parsley, sage, roast job. What are you making? Soup?
Parsnip and sweet potato soup.
All right, that'll make me work harder. So Luciano brought the shocks over yesterday. He called me early this morning. I thought there might be something wrong, and he's just overflowing with joy how nice his cafe racer is coming out, and we are going to try to get up there in the next week or so. And it looks like these shocks are going to be great on the RD. I'm excited about it, but it's pouring rain out there. We're not going to do that today. You might have noticed that I'm letting the wheel dry extra, because I don't want to scratch it when I put the tire on. And that, of course, is coming up in the next couple days, too. But today, what I said being a nice, relatively easy day, because yesterday we spent all the time just to see how this would polish up and what sanding grits we're going to work on it. And we learned a lot. We made some tricky sandpaper that you might want to see on the video that comes before this. But now what we have to do is the part of it that you're going to see. Now, if you notice, the part you don't see has all kind of ridges and things sticking up. The side you see is really nice and smooth. So this should go a little bit easier. But when we're done, we want it to really be nice. This is the thing this side you see. And to me, it's always important not to waste a lot of time polishing something you don't see, the bottom of the oil pan. I want to see the stuff that you really see. I call them the focal points. I want them to be as good as I can make them. Now, rather than repeat all the stuff from the video before, I used a glue gun to make these are old sanding pieces and glue on, and I did a variety of testing. This is what I found out, summarize it. I have some 240s. I found some 240s, which I had, and the 240s were okay, but they left a lot of scratches, so I'm going to try not to use the 240s unless I really can't get anywhere. And it was the 400, a 600, they work great, and 1,000, they'll finish off the job. So I'll try to go through this step by step. But as I always try to explain to people, to get a lot of work done, the sequencing is a big part of it, and not doing things twice that you can do once, and just not on a day like today. We couldn't paint, but we've tried to sequence the stuff up so that a day like today, we're going to be down here. And that's so important, but yet it slips by a lot of people. Now, the key here to make a job like this go as quickly and smoothly as possible, I try to, number one, look at the part. If I have a picture of the bike, take a few pictures before you take it apart and see what parts of this you actually see. This is the one we practiced on yesterday. This was just practice because I wanted to get the grits right. And every piece of aluminum can be a little bit different. Because I wanted this day to go easily and smoothly. So I break this down myself. Here's a flat. These will be very easy to do. Here, flat, flat. Around these bolt holes you really don't see because the caliper goes there. But from the part that you see, this part here all the way down and the front, I want that to be perfect because that part you do see. So there's a casting mark in here. I'm going to have to get that out. Now, from yesterday's experience, what I do know is I'll start with the 240. I'll get the casting mark out. But then I'll get the rest of this done with probably with 400, 600. It'll be a relatively straightforward job because in here I'm going to have to get by hand. And this is, picture how this is going to sit on a motorcycle. This is the part I'm going to see the front, I'm going to see the side. Anything behind here I'm not really going to see. So I really have to concentrate all my effort into the parts that I see. So the idea is I don't want to spend a lot of time on, I don't want to spend my whole day buffing back here. You're never even going to see it. But I do want to spend most of the time right up here where I'm going to see it. So let me start with the 240 grit. Now I'm concentrating on one little area at a time. This is an area we're definitely going to see. I've gotten almost all of the plating off it, I guess is the right word. But see, this is going to be a challenge to get in here and then get up around here. But this tool is actually working pretty good, and I have plenty of those little test sandpapers to do. But see, this is the problem with the 240. It leaves a lot of scratches, which I'm going to get off even if I have to get them off by hand. But this gets the, you can see how quick it takes the plating off. And without getting this plate, if you can't get this off, even on a side cover of an engine part, once they put that plating on, you got to get down to aluminum before this is ever going to look like a shiny part. So it's just, if you understand how that works and why they plate this, obviously, so it doesn't oxidize, then it all makes sense, and this is a reasonable job. So this is going to be a lot quicker than yesterday. I'm going to pick another spot, and then another spot. Then a lot of this I'm going to have to do by hand. I may have to make a couple special tools, but eventually this whole thing will be ready for buffing. Now, a little trick that's worth its weight in gold, because again, sandpaper is not cheap, and this is Velcro back paper. So normally I would use this on a point, turn around on another point. Now, eventually you get all 3 points used up. Well, there's nothing, you can see the impression I left here. There's nothing to keep you from doing this, moving it back, moving it back. Now in this case, what I'm going to do, just to make it easy for myself, I can use it because I'm using up the middle of the sandpaper. Normally this only wears out on the edge. So what it does, it cuts back the cost of the sandpaper, and it works because you've got paper up here. It'll work up in that edge. It'll grind away up in that edge real nice. Let me do a little demo here. You can get it to go up into that little edge. So what I'm saying is now you can wear out the middle, and actually at some point in time you can do that and even trim the extra off. But then you've used the whole piece of sandpaper, especially in the case here. It's hard to find this in the finer grits. This is 240. I know somebody's got to make 400 on this, but even if they don't, it doesn't matter because I can make my own, as I showed yesterday on yesterday's video. So we're basically down to raw aluminum on most parts and on all parts that we're going to see. From this point on, I'm going to get the little tool that I made yesterday and wet sand this out. That'll just save some buffing time if I can get it. I'll start with the 400 grit ones I made, and finish it up with 600. It's hard to believe, but these tools that we made yesterday, they really work good. Anyway, by going down, they work exceptional, in fact. By going down in grit, each time the 240 grit, this will take some of the sanding scratches off, or most of them. In a perfect world, it'll take them all off. But one by one, we get to a finer and finer grit until, and again, what's nice about this part of it is easy. The part where we have to do by hand and the corners and angles up, and the buffing wheel, you've got to hold on for dear life. But this is the easy part, and it works pretty good. In fact, as I think about it, this really is better than I thought it would be. Yeah, we're down. We're almost down with, actually, we could finish this with 600 grit by hand, of course, and then we'd be ready to buff. So now the part that's really more labor intensive, I'm going to get some 600 and do a lot of this by hand, because with my hand and maybe even a sanding block, I can get any corners and edges. This looks like it came out pretty good. So far, the biggest thing that worked on this were these little tools that I made. And the reason they work so good, I think, because they're double sandpaper. So what happens, see if I can show this, they curl up and go into the edges. See, when I'm doing this, they're not flat. They go up and they get all this stuff out in the corners, in here. So they've made this has been a real, I'm amazed how good this works with the hot glue. But anyway, it's beside the point. If you can buy these, just buy them. But now I'm going to put some more tape around here, because see, I'm wearing through the tape, and I don't want the buffing wheel to hit this, or when we get to the final part where I'm using tools and stuff, I don't want to scratch these fork legs. So what I'll just put is an extra piece of tape on that. This is actually the part that can be a little labor intensive. It's like wet sanding paint, but this is 600, by the way, and I'll spend 15-20 minutes here trying to detail the part out. Again, I don't do any of this with the idea in mind that I'm going to skip a step or in some way jeopardize the job. And this is going to get, I hope, almost all of the final scratches out, so that when I go to the buffing wheel, the way this usually works, at least I've found, if you spend a half hour doing what I'm doing right now, you'll save 2 hours on the buffing wheel. Because when you go to buff a scratch out, it takes forever. Where here, we're getting them out. And I've heard, and I don't do this, but I've heard people say this, if you do this, and then you go exactly 90 degrees, you make the buffing a lot easier. Now, I've tried that, and maybe it is, but I'm just not smart enough to know it's better. But it doesn't really matter at the end. See, what matters is at the end that you have the job as perfect as you can make it, and that you're happy with it, and that when you look back at your restoration, you say, wow, that was time well spent. Because in my case, I don't flip the bikes. I don't turn around and every 2 weeks have a new bike. So I get to enjoy this for a long, long time. Now, just as an example, I'll wipe or dry that once in a while and look for scratches. And wherever I see a scratch, just sand it some more. It's as simple as that. It isn't real complicated. Some of the other things you can do if you're real creative. In this case, this is the part we're going to see the most, so I want to absolutely make sure there's not a scratch that I can get out, and that final polish will be as nice as I can make it. Again, a lot of people would put this in a vise. It's just, I don't want to put anything in a vise here if I can help it. So little by little, every time I spend 10-15 minutes, I look, let's see where there's a scratch, some imperfection. Little by little, it all comes together, and that's the nice part of this. So as my parts are coming together, I see we're going to have soup for lunch. What a surprise. But right now we need a coffee break. Now what better than a fresh cup of coffee and some baby eagles coming to visit me while I take a break from this buffing job. Okay, Scott, I'm having this extra cup of coffee for you, thinking you're in Colorado freezing. I'm up here getting swimming lessons going out to my garage. But we're doing the same thing. We're drinking coffee. And then we'll go back to buffing. Now, an old SOS pad is great for one thing, of getting in little nooks and crannies. An example is right in there. It's very difficult to get by hand, but this is just one example of any little nook and cranny that you can use, because the buffing wheel being a different shape, it's hard to get in there sometimes, and that's why we have the attachments for the electric drill and various other things. Any combination of things that can get the coating off and get the aluminum ready for the buffing and get rid of any place I see scratches. This will take scratches out pretty much the same as 600 sandpaper will. And of course, using both, it's to your advantage. But again, anything you can use to do that it just makes the buffing easier, because when you're at the buffing wheel, that thing is heavy and you really got to put some effort into it. Now in my my dumpster of stuff here, I had two of these. This one's self-destructed. I bought this to do Vince's snowflake wheels on his BMW, never used it. But this, I've used it on just what I'm going to show now. Just before you go to the buffing wheel, this takes out a lot of the little scratches that otherwise you'd have to take out by hand and be time consuming. And again, it's about a $10 thing. I remember getting this in Harbor Freight. So that preps us up pretty much for the buffing wheel. We'll use the black compound first, then the red, and then the white, and it should come up really, really nice. This side came out really nice, and I put all the time, or most of the time, into the parts that are visible, normal viewing angles, and I think this is right here is the primary thing, and of course when you turn it, the front. So getting that area perfect, that'll be job one. Okay, the next step, I want to put a coat of Flitz on this with the Flitz buff and ball. We got one done, and of course the other one will go even faster. And as this is going on, this one went way faster than the testing we did yesterday, and every one you do just gets a little bit faster than the one before. That's how most of the skills that we use in restoration are. You just get quicker and quicker without even wanting to. And then of course the final question is, which one do you want on your motorcycle? So I have to admit I'm a little prejudiced. This is the one I want right here. Anyway, the beautiful part of this, it's time consuming. It's very, very inexpensive. Now, we'll get the other one done off camera and hopefully find some funny video to put on the end of this. And this has been a great day. Now, but keep in mind, this one faster than the one the day before, this one will go even faster because we've got our technique down. So as I suspected what might happen, second part went much, much faster. And all I can say is that's pretty typical of painting things and anything like that. But anyway, so we're near the end of this video. I wanted to set the stage. I found some really fun video. I'm trying to include everybody from the A-team, of course. And Chris has been a member for a long time. And I have some footage. What happened is Luciano and I met a guy in Millville. And when they were doing cars and bikes at the same time. And what he did, he had the fastest Camaro out there. So we befriended him. We went over there. We were talking to him. Luciano will remember this story. It's a great story. And he said, oh, I'll take you for a ride. And I said, oh, let me go get my helmet. He says, no, not this session, next session. And so he went out on that session alone. Of course, on track day, you can take a passenger, as long as they have a helmet and everything. And so what happened was, we saw him towing his car in, and he had blown the clutch, if I remember right. So he said, oh, next time you're at track day, I'll definitely take you on the first day, the first one of the day, the first one before it, because my car is, and his car really was super, super ultra fast, this Camaro, orange Camaro. So, and I thought I'd shoot video and I'd be a cool guy and everything. Well, but what really happened is the next time we went to Pocono, and Chris came with us. And Chris was going to do track days. She had her helmet and her bike. She has an R6, of course. And so I thought, instead of me taking a ride, I thought she would enjoy it a lot more than I would, since I've been in a lot of race cars. So when she went for the ride, it's really funny. I couldn't help but take video, and it's a very funny video. You can see Luciano in the background and everything. And the look on her face when she got out of the car, and of course we all like Chris. We've known her for a long time. That was a great video. Anyway, but I wanted to show this, and that sets the stage for the video that'll be at the end of this. And that is a true story. And boy, that is a nice set of forks. So the day ends with our magic pair of forks. Really nicely polished. I am really impressed the way they came up. Now this is pretty cool because we paid 90 bucks for these, and thank you Pokey and Luciano for helping me get them. A little bit of labor, a couple dollars worth of polish, and to me they're better than the thing we always strive for, better than factory new. It's been one heck of a good day. The forks are ready. Wow, they really did polish up nice. 90 bucks. A little bit of labor, a lot of love. Anyway, we have been enjoying these old A-team little snippets that are at the end of the video so much that we're going to have an A-team gathering here in a few days. We'll see who shows up. But anyway, because it's winter and you never know what's going on. And you never know who's going to be in prison. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching. Say hello to Lauren. Lauren, we wish you were here, Lauren.
Yes.
Lauren, you could be riding in this very cool Camaro. But of course, Lauren, you have to work.
Sorry.
Those of us on welfare, we don't have to worry about it. Oh my God. Chris, in your wildest dream, did you ever think you'd be here today?
No.
It took me 4 years to get you out here. I hope you appreciate this. Oh my God. He may let you drive. I don't think so. I want to see, I'm going to be right here. I want to see the look on your face when you're done with this. And then just picture doing this on a motorcycle. I want to tell a quick story. Bernie was, because we got a minute here. Bernie 2 years ago was going to take me for a ride in this car. I went out and videotaped one of his sessions. He was the fastest car by far of the car group, and then he blew the clutch, so I never got my ride. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, I bet Tom likes that sound. Woo! Listen to this, oh my God. Lauren, we wish you were here. Bernie, thank you very much. All right, Chris, we're all here to tell you to get out of the car. Oh, she did it. Oh, Lauren is going to be so jealous. Oh, I don't even want to be there.
That was very intense.
That Bernie's one cool dude, right? I knew
Wow.
it. I knew it.
That was what?
Chris, tell me the truth. You'll remember
My
that the rest
head.
of your life, right?
Yeah, my.
When you see it on TV, you watch NASCAR, it ain't the same, right?
Wow, that was.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. I couldn't even see how fast we were going.
Maybe you better if you don't know.
Watching.
It was over 55. Very cool. Very cool. That Bernie is okay. I don't care what Chris says about him.
Bernie, thank you very
Give him a hug, Chris. Come on, give him a hug.